All right, so today I'm going to discuss some of the mathematical properties you're going to run into. Some of these you have learned before, some of these it might be your first time learning them. Some of these you may already know, but just don't know the fancy name for them. So we're going to start here with the commutative property. There are two ways this commutative property happens, in addition and in multiplication. In addition, we have A plus B equals B plus A. So it's just saying whichever the order, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same thing. So in the example here of 7 plus 4, 7 plus 4 would be the same thing as saying 4 plus 7. Both of them would give you 11. Multiplication is similar, where it says A times B is equal to B times A. So in the example, 7 times 4 is going to be the same thing as 4 times 7. That's going to give you the same product on both sides of 28. So the commutative property, it just says you could switch the order. Next, we're going to discuss the associative property. This again can happen with addition and multiplication. The associative property, the thing to remember is it just wants to change who one of the numbers is associated with. So if we take a look at the addition, A plus B is in parentheses first, and plus C is on the outside, which is equal to A plus on the outside. And inside the parentheses is B and C. So in this example, it's just saying changing who B is associated with. In the example here, we start off with 5 plus 2 in parentheses plus 3. Well, now we're going to change it so 5 is on the outside. We have 2 and 3. It's important to remember that you're not changing the order. You're keeping the numbers in the same order, 5, 2, then 3. It's just switching who 2 is going to be associated with, who 2 is going to be grouped with. Okay? And in multiplication, it's the same thing. It starts off with A times B in parentheses and times C on the outside. And then it's equivalent to A times inside the parentheses B times C. So in the example, we start with 2 times 3 in parentheses and then times 5 on the outside. And we're going to again keep them in the same order, 2. And on the inside, we're going to do 3 times 5. So we just changed who 3 is associated with in our multiplication example. Distributive property. Distributive property just means when you're multiplying by something on the outside, you're just going to multiply it by both terms on the inside, on all the terms on the inside. So in this example, we have A times, in parentheses, B plus C. That is equivalent to A times B plus A times C. So if we look at our example of 5 times 2 plus 4, that's equivalent to 5 times 2, because we multiply the 5 by the 2, plus 5 times 4. So we would be, because 5 times the 4. And then you'd add them together to get your final sum. And that's how that distributive property works. Identity property. This is a property you may know already. You just didn't know that there was a name for it. So in addition, the rule is any number plus 0 is going to be itself. So in the example, A plus 0 is going to be A. And in our example, we have 5 plus 0. And any number plus 0 is going to be itself. So we have 5 plus 0, we're going to get 5. Multiplication is similar. It remembers A times 1 is equal to A. Any number times 1 is itself. So we have the example of 5 times 1. Any number times 1 is itself. 5 times 1 gives us 5. So those are the two identity properties. Inverse property. This is basically just having to do with the opposite. So for addition, this is where we work a little bit with our integers. A plus negative A equals 0. So you want to end with 0. So in the example here, we have 7 plus negative blank to give us 0. Well, we want to get it to be the 0, so we have to have the exact opposite of 7, which is negative 7. We add those together and we get 0. Multiplication is similar. Multiplication says A times 1 over A is equal to 1. Okay? So we're dealing with that 1 again, like with that identity property. Okay? In our example, 3 times 1 over blank is equal to 1. It's important to remember when you're doing inverse property that that main number that you're starting with times 1 over that number is going to give you 1. So if we have 1 times 1/3, that's going to give us 1. So those are the inverse properties. Multiplicative property is 0. Anything times 0 gives you 0. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we have 8 times 0 gives us 0. 12 times 0 will also give us 0. And the substitution property. A is equal to B, which means that B can be used for A and vice versa. So if we take a look at our expression here, we have 4 times B plus A. We have A is equal to B and B is equal to 2. So what I would do here is I would just make a little note to myself that A is also equal to 2. So then I would substitute in. So we have 4 times 2 plus 2. Got to do my order of operations. So I do 8 plus 2, and that will give us 10 as our final answer. These are just some of the math properties that you will use throughout your time in math. If you have questions, please feel free to contact your teacher.